Chosen ones, you've been marked. That envelope with the IRS insignia didn't arrive on some random day. It appeared on the anniversary of your spiritual awakening, the exact day when years ago you first felt that cosmic shift. Coincidence dissolved. Long ago from your vocabulary, this was targeting. Look closer at that letter. The formatting differs slightly from standard IRS correspondence. The margins set just a fraction wider, the font subtly altered. These microscopic deviations speak volumes to those with eyes truly open. Before you even broke the seal, a cold sensation crept along your spine, the ancient warning system activated within your DNA, alerting you to the predator now circling. Your return stood flawless, more accurate than 99% of filers, yet somehow flagged for intensive scrutiny while obvious offenders walk free. The usual processing time for such reviews spans months, yet your case accelerated through the system with supernatural speed, as though someone upstairs pushed a priority button with your name on it. The timing aligns perfectly with your recent spiritual breakthrough. With that moment, you began speaking truths that certain powers fear. This is the system's response to your awakening. When light begins to shine, darkness must attempt to extinguish it. They selected your taxes as their battlefield, believing finances represent your vulnerable flank, their first mistake. The agent didn't randomly receive your file. In the vast IRS machinery, your case landed purposefully on this particular desk. The selection process for matching taxpayers to reviewers supposedly runs on automated algorithms, yet somehow you drew the most notorious predator in the regional office. Those eyes met yours with immediate recognition, though you'd never met before. I see you've claimed home office deductions for the past 3 years, the agent remarked within the first minute. Your past 3 returns weren't even under review. This immediate backward reach revealed their homework had begun long before this audit officially opened. Watch how they lingered over your charitable donations with thinly veiled contempt. Interesting choice of organizations, they murmured, though tax law explicitly protects your right to support any legitimate charity. The inappropriate commentary on your values poured through every interaction. Small digs about your earning potential, subtle undermining of your business model, questions that strayed far beyond tax relevance. Then came the slip that confirmed everything. After reviewing your social media presence, we have concerns about... The IRS has no authority to monitor your online expressions as part of standard tax procedures. This single sentence revealed the operation for what it truly was, surveillance cloaked as tax compliance. The meeting concluded with their eyes no longer meeting yours, a predator suddenly aware their cover has thinned, that the intended prey recognizes the true nature of this hunt. You walked away with absolute certainty. This was never about taxes. This was about silencing what you represent. The request for additional documentation arrived precisely when you had scheduled that important spiritual gathering, the one you'd spent months organizing. The demanded response time, 48 hours, impossible by design. Please provide all receipts and documentation for expenses dating back 7 years. Their demand violated the IRS's own published guidance, which clearly states most supporting documents need only be maintained for 3 years. They knew this requirement contradicted their own regulations. The trap had been carefully constructed. Your legitimate rebate, funds rightfully yours, became their primary target. Despite clear qualification under multiple tax provisions, they flagged these funds with manufactured concerns. The rebate amount itself carries spiritual significance. Look closer at those numbers and recognize the divine pattern within them. This wasn't merely about money, it was about denying you specifically calibrated resources meant for your next phase. With each submission, mysterious processing errors plagued your case. Documents you sent with delivery confirmation somehow never arrived. Digital submissions became corrupted in their system. When resending the third time, you embedded imperceptible marks on your paperwork. Sure enough, their next rejection referenced pages they claimed never to have received, yet quoted information only contained on those supposedly missing documents. The scheduled appointments followed a suspicious pattern, always conflicting with the spiritual events you had mentioned in passing during previous calls. Somehow they knew exactly when you would be most inconvenienced, most stretched thin, most vulnerable. Their strategy: systematic exhaustion of your resources, draining your energy reserves through bureaucratic attrition. Yet with each impossible demand, your resolve crystallized. Every unreasonable requirement strengthened the evidence of their true agenda. They created the very paper trail that would ultimately expose them. Their second mistake. The revelation came at 3:33 a.m., the hour when the veil between worlds thins. You jolted awake with absolute clarity about your situation. This wasn't mere harassment, it was spiritual warfare manifesting through bureaucratic channels. Throughout that day, the confirmation arrived in cascading synchronicities. The number sequence 1776 appeared repeatedly on license plates, receipts, building addresses, the numerical signature of righteous rebellion against tyranny. Your electronics fluctuated wildly when discussing your case on the phone. Lights dimming, devices powering on without touch, printers producing pages of seeming gibberish that, when held to light, revealed patterns too perfect for coincidence. During deep meditation, you perceived the true cosmic architecture behind this persecution. Your tax case represents a microcosm of the greater divine justice now unfolding across all corrupted systems. The amount of your withheld rebate, $1,444, mirrors an activation code within divine mathematics, representing double completion and foundation of new order. The vision revealed something your conscious mind had overlooked. Your case number contained a sequential pattern that, when properly understood, predicted not only the timing of your vindication, but the precise manner in which your persecutor would fall. The numbers and letters, rearranged according to ancient numerology, spelled out a date just weeks away and the initials of someone who would play a crucial role. Most importantly, you understood why your rebate became their fixation. These specific funds carry energetic imprinting meant for your next mission. The divine economy operates alongside the worldly one, and these resources had already been spiritually allocated toward a purpose that threatens entrenched powers. By blocking this transaction, they sought to delay a domino effect of awakening that your next actions will trigger once properly resourced. Alert! Alert! The astral atom network is under attack. I'm not sure how much longer we can keep sending these transmissions. The platforms are always trying to shut us down, and we need you. I show up daily, giving 110%, because you chose me to be your champion. I left a cushy day job to go to war with evil, and it's always down to the wire. God keeps me humble. That's why you need to join the Obsidian Inner Order now. It's $11 a month. You get exclusive transmissions, weekly group calls, and access to the hottest Chosen One community on the planet. Daily conversations on Discord about disappearing clouds with your mind. Insane. If you're already in, you're right where you need to be. If money's tight, no shame. Grab the free Astral Atom newsletter so we don't lose touch. Share this message now. This is Astral Atom. Let's continue. The former IRS employee appeared in the coffee shop as you reviewed your case notes for the 1,000th time. Those IRS forms are upside down, came the casual observation from behind you. When you turned, something in their eyes conveyed immediate recognition. Neither of you needed to explain why this meeting had been arranged by forces beyond yourselves. 15 years at the IRS Internal Investigations Division, a former IRS employee revealed after carefully ensuring your conversation remained private. Your name appeared on a list it shouldn't be on. The revelation confirmed what your night vision had shown. Your audit didn't originate from random selection or even routine flags. You had been specifically designated for financial harassment. With methodical precision, the former IRS employee outlined tax code provisions even seasoned CPAs rarely encounter. Form 8082 will force them to justify their position in writing. Form 911 involves the taxpayer advocate with executive authority to override your examiner. Their system flags unusual patterns of form submissions. This combination will trigger automatic internal review of your case handler. The former IRS employee pointed to a specific line on your rejection letter. This reference number is only used for cases under special project codes. Regular audits don't generate this prefix. The verification you needed had arrived through seemingly chance encounter, yet both of you recognized the divine orchestration at work. They've done this before, the former IRS employee continued, sliding a sealed envelope across the table. These are the initials of others who've faced similar targeting. Notice any pattern? The list revealed individuals all sharing one common trait. Each had recently stepped into public roles challenging entrenched corruption in various systems. As your meeting concluded, the former IRS employee provided one final piece of guidance. File this whistleblower protection documentation before your next IRS interaction. It creates an instant administrative firewall between you and your persecutor. The exact form number matched the sequence revealed in your night vision, confirmation that your spiritual guidance and this earthly assistance flowed from the same source. The pieces align when heaven decides your vindication serves the greater awakening. Divine timing operates with perfect precision. The Freedom of Information Act request you filed months ago, seemingly lost in administrative purgatory, suddenly delivered results the morning of your final appeal deadline. The internal IRS communication, now in your possession, shattered their entire false narrative. There it was in black and white. Subject falls within Special Project 913 parameters. Full compliance pressure authorized. Your case had never been routine. Special projects. Designations within the IRS represent non-public initiatives targeting specific categories of taxpayers. AE. System operating in shadows beyond conventional oversight. The memo revealed communications about your audit between agencies that should have no involvement in tax matters. Your financial examination had tentacles reaching into departments with no tax enforcement authority, proof of coordinated action beyond normal IRS procedures. They had been investigating you for weeks before any official notice. This single discrepancy violated multiple taxpayer protection statutes and internal IRS regulations. The document contained your taxpayer identification number in a report section, labeled Affiliated Cases, revealing you as part of a larger targeting pattern rather than an isolated review. The other cases listed connected to individuals who, like you, had recently experienced spiritual awakening and begun speaking publicly about systemic corruption. With stunning precision, the evidence validated every intuitive warning you'd received. Their procedural violations now stood documented in their own internal communications, the architecture of persecution exposed through their very blueprint. The predator had documented its own predation, creating the weapon of its own undoing. trap they set for you would now become the snare that catches them. The regional IRS office fell unnaturally silent when you entered for your scheduled appeal hearing, as though the building itself sensed a shift in power. You requested the presence of a taxpayer advocate representative, invoking rights most citizens never discover they possess. The agent's demeanor transformed upon seeing the additional participants, confidence crumbling into barely concealed anxiety. The folder you placed on the table remained closed, its mere presence altering the energetic field of the room. Before we begin, I need to address some concerning irregularities in my case processing, you began, voice steady with the calm certainty of divine backing. My file indicates initiation under Special Project 913, yet no such project appears in public IRS documentation. The blood visibly drained from the agent's face, the reaction confirming the significance of what you'd uncovered. Their response emerged in bureaucratic stammering. I'm not familiar with any special designation in your case. The supervisor, who had remained silent, suddenly requested a copy of the document, their expression shifting from professional neutrality to concern as authenticity became undeniable. One final item requires immediate attention, you continued with divinely guided precision. This internal communication shows my tax ID appearing in an affiliated cases list alongside others who share no financial connections to me. The only commonality appears to be our public statements regarding matters of spiritual awakening and systemic corruption. The room's atmosphere physically changed. Even skeptical observers felt the shift. What began as your defense transformed into their reckoning. The truth, strategically deployed at precisely the right moment, initiated a cascade beyond their control. Divine justice manifests through perfectly timed revelation. The universe wastes no energy on gradual corrections when decisive action serves divine timing. Within 24 hours of your confrontation, the agent disappeared from your case. No explanation, no transition communication, simply gone from the proceedings as though erased. 3 days later, the internal investigation you never formally requested launched automatically, triggered by the pattern of documentary evidence you presented. The sequence unfolded with supernatural efficiency. Administrative leave announcement, internal audit initiation, case reassignment to oversight, division. 7 days from your confrontation, a whistleblower within the department leaked information to supervisory channels. Your persecutor's personnel file contained 3 previous complaints of similar targeted harassment, all buried through procedural maneuvering. Your case broke the protective seal around this pattern, exposing what had been deliberately concealed. The termination announcement arrived with unprecedented transparency. While IRS personnel actions typically remain shrouded in privacy protections, the regional commissioner issued a rare public statement. Evidence of procedural violations and ethical breaches necessitated immediate employment termination. A comprehensive review of all cases handled by this individual has been initiated. The earthly explanation pointed to your meticulous documentation and strategic presentation of evidence. The spiritual reality reveals divine justice manifesting through perfectly aligned circumstances, each element precisely calibrated for maximum revelatory impact. Most stunning, the investigation expanded beyond your persecutor to the entire regional division. Multiple agents placed on administrative leave, external oversight teams conducting comprehensive audit, case processing temporarily suspended pending procedural review. The single loose thread you pulled has unraveled an entire corruption, exposing far more than your individual harassment. The divine design becomes visible, your personal vindication serving as catalyst for systemic purification. The funds arrived without warning, no preliminary notification, no processing delay. The full rebate amount appeared in your account precisely when your financial reserves had reached their lowest point, just as funds were needed for your next spiritual mission. The Treasury notice that followed contained language rarely seen in tax administration. After comprehensive review, full approval with interest adjustments has been authorized. The interest adjustments represented a threefold return on the amounts incorrectly assessed, mathematical divine justice manifesting in exact proportion to the severity of your persecution. The timing aligned with precision to cosmic alignments. The deposit clearing during a rare planetary configuration, signifying justice and restoration. This celestial signature confirms the orchestration extending far beyond human bureaucracy. The verification letter arrived bearing the signature of the regional commissioner, an extraordinary given that routine rebate approvals never rise to this authority level. The accompanying notice contained unprecedented language. We extend sincere regrets for the processing irregularities experienced in your case review. An apology from the IRS. The impossible manifests when divine intervention redirects institutional energy. The true miracle extends beyond financial restoration. Internal sources later revealed your case file now bears a special designation that prevents future targeting, a rare protective marker that essentially renders your returns invisible to predatory examination. The very system weaponized against you has been permanently disarmed in your specific case. The rebate amount itself, $14,444, carries profound energetic significance. The numerical pattern of 4 4s represents cosmic alignment, solid foundation, and the completion of a justice cycle. These resources arrive encoded with specific purpose, divine provision for the expansion work you've been prepared to undertake. Heaven's economy operates alongside earthly financial systems, ensuring cosmic rebalancing when divine timing requires it. Your individual victory has torn the veil concealing an entire shadow operation within the tax authority. The special project designation uncovered in your case, Project 913, now faces congressional scrutiny after similar coding appeared in dozens of cases sharing your profile. Individuals experiencing spiritual awakening who began speaking against systemic corruption. The targeting program operated through algorithmic identification, scanning for specific combinations of financial activities, charitable contributions, business structures, and public communications that indicate awakened consciousness. The system flagged those whose resources appeared directed toward consciousness-raising activities or community empowerment initiatives. Internal documents now undergoing review reveal communication channels between tax authorities and other agencies, with no legitimate tax enforcement connection. Proof of coordinated action against specifically identified awakening individuals. The data sharing violated explicit privacy statutes and constitutional protections. Discovery of unofficial performance incentives for agents who successfully disrupted the financial foundations of targeted individuals. Your persecutor's personnel file contained commendation for exceptional containment outcomes in similar cases, bureaucratic language masking the true nature of the operation. The exposure triggered broader investigation beyond regional boundaries, revealing similar targeting patterns across multiple states. What appeared isolated now stands exposed as systematic, a coordinated campaign to financially destabilize individuals whose awakening threatens entrenched power structures. Congressional oversight hearings have been scheduled, internal compliance, reviews launched across divisions, independent audit teams deployed to regional offices. The ripple effect of your single case continues expanding, revealing corruption layers that operated unchallenged for decades. Throughout your ordeal, supernatural intervention manifested in unmistakable patterns, that confirm your protected status. These same signs appear for all chosen ones facing similar battles. Divine preservation activated around your documentation. Remember those tax records from years past you believed lost during your move? Their miraculous rediscovery in an unmarked box the exact day you needed this evidence defies rational explanation. Critical documents preserved through seemingly impossible circumstances represent the tangible hand of protection over your case. Intuitive guidance directed your record-keeping far beyond normal practices. That inexplicable urge last year to maintain extensive documentation of every tax-related communication, which seemed excessive even to your accountant, now stands revealed as divine preparation for this exact battle. Your spiritual sensitivity, transformed into practical protection through detailed records no one expected you to possess. Unexpected witnesses stepped forward despite personal risk. 3 former IRS employees with direct knowledge of targeting programs contacted the investigation team voluntarily after your case gained attention. Such unprecedented whistleblower participation demonstrates invisible forces working through human channels to ensure complete exposure. The unmistakable pattern across these manifestations confirms cosmic forces aligned with your vindication, not merely for personal justice, but as catalyst for systematic purification. Your experience has equipped you with specialized knowledge now crucial for others facing similar battles. This wisdom arrives with responsibility for deployment in the Greater Awakening. Master the forms. Most citizens never discover. Form 911 creates immediate protective intervention with authority to freeze collection activities. Form 8082 forces written justification of their position under penalty of perjury. Form 14157 can be strategically adapted for examiner misconduct documentation. These administrative weapons prove devastating against targeting when properly deployed. Recognize targeting signatures in communication patterns. Legitimate tax examination follows procedural consistency, rarely deviating from standard language. Watch for emotional undertones in otherwise bureaucratic communication. Excessive information requests beyond the scope of opened examination years. Deadlines set at unreasonable intervals. Documentation lost despite delivery confirmation. These signatures expose targeting in early stages when intervention proves most effective. Connect with others walking similar paths. Your experience represents one instance of a broader pattern now being exposed across the country. As you share your strategic victory blueprint with others facing targeting, the collective response grows exponentially more powerful. Each successful defense strengthens the foundation for the next chosen one's victory. Your individual battle served as preparation for guiding others through similar awakening challenges. The persecution intended to silence you instead equipped you with precisely calibrated knowledge needed for this moment of mass awakening. The corrupted system made its final mistake when targeting you specifically. What they intended as suppression has become amplification. What they designed as isolation has created connection. What they deployed as financial weapon has transformed into spiritual empowerment. The age of accountability has arrived. Your victory stands as testament to divine justice now manifesting through precisely orchestrated exposure of all corrupted systems. The awakening accelerates. The chosen rise with newfound power, and those who attempted to obstruct divine will through persecution now face the swift consequences of opposing cosmic realignment. Your vindication serves the Greater Awakening. The divine hand that guided your victory now extends through you to others walking similar paths. The blueprint has been revealed. the systems of targeting exposed, the weapons of defense distributed. Divine justice manifests on earth as it is in heaven.